Today we'll be talking about the power of print embellishments and what those advanced printing techniques and advanced printing options out there are for your business. The topic of today will last about 15 to 20 minutes of discussion, and then towards the end we'll do a Q&A towards the end if anyone has any questions. Today our presenters are David DiGiacomo, he's our VP of Sales Development. And then we also have Travis Brigham, he's our Production Print Product Manager. And without further ado, Travis, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thanks, Christian. As mentioned, I'm Travis, and you'll see David here in a few minutes. But thanks everybody for logging on and sitting here with us for 20, 25 minutes and going over some things that we've run into that we think can help your business in these times where we're looking at what we can do moving forward. So here we're going to talk about ways to add extra value to your printing and the tools to get you there.
Thanks, Travis. Thank you very much for joining our coffee talk today. We often hear from people wanting to see how they can make their print stand out from the competition. And we get this question quite often. And apart from the unique selling points from your marketing plan, there are smaller ways to give your print materials that extra oomph. In short, embellishments are a quick way to give your printed materials an edge over your competition. For commercial printing jobs, embellishments are decorative details that make your printed pieces stand out from the rest. Adding these elements of interest to your piece can help draw attention to specific areas that you consider important, or they can simply complete a beautiful presentation. When used effectively, print embellishments can convince prospects of quality of the piece, as well as the care, dedication, and attention to detail of those who designed and printed it. Embellishment pieces look and feel special. Adding embellishments can bring an otherwise dull, unexceptional piece to life. What's more, print embellishments place an extra emphasis on a particular aspect of a piece that you designed. With that, we're going to go over 5 or 6 different ways your printing can stand out and do it at a responsibly inexpensive way. Travis?
Yeah, so let's jump right into this. So the first thing that we're going to go over is digital foiling. Foiling has been around for quite some time, but we're going to talk more into how to incorporate that with the digital copiers that you currently use. Digital foiling is a great way to add a pop of color to a piece of or a picture that you've printed. So say you have a beautiful Ferrari sitting on a road in front of the beach and you really want that Ferrari to stand out, you can put a blue or a bright yellow on that Ferrari and give it that gloss or that that pop of color to really set that picture out away from the background of the beach. Another good example of using this is for wedding invitations. You can highlight the Mr. and Mrs. Smith with a gold or a silver foil, and then have the rest of the invitation just in your regular print. But it's just a way to be able to set yourself apart from what your competition is doing, where all they can do is just CMYK colors. So, but digital foiling is a pretty simple process. It is kind of hands-on, but basically what you do is you have a file that you break into half. So you have your color file that you would print out first on your digital device, and you would then take that color file once printed off that digital device over to your foiling machine that would also do foiling and lamination, and you would put a lamination on your printed piece that would then cover the whole piece in lamination, and then you would take that piece back over to your color device to put your second layer on, and your second layer would be black toner where you want that foil to be on your piece. So if you wanted to say Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you would run those cards through, putting Mr. and Mrs. Smith on top of that lamination in black toner. Then you would take that over to the foil and run it back through your foiler, and the foil only adheres to where that black toner is sitting on top of that lamination. So it is kind of a 3 to 4 step process, but it's a relatively inexpensive process, but it allows you to charge up for a good profit on those pieces because they do set you apart from your competition.
Yes, that's a good point, Travis. One of the things to add on to that, when you are doing this lamination process, after you print your first layer, the first half of the layers Travis was talking about, you are going to be putting on what's called a printable laminate. And there's different touches of that printable laminate. It can be a smooth touch or a soft touch. Soft touch has become very popular in our industry now, and it gives you that textured soft touch. So before, you used to have to put that on a UV coater in order to get that using liquid and a different type of process. Now we're able to put a soft touch laminate on any of your pieces without any chemicals. And so this is a very smooth process, allowing you to be able to add that soft touch and then go back and put that second layer on, as Travis was saying. One of the questions we often get is about registration, and we have no registration issues at all because the foil will stick exactly to every piece of black toner that's being laid on top of the printable laminate. So we have no registration issues when it comes to that at all.
Yeah, so foiling is a great and easy, pretty inexpensive way to get into an embellishment that will set you away. Another one, speaking of laminates, is actual lamination. And like David mentioned, you have your soft touch, but you also have holographic laminations, you have gloss laminations, and all of those will add a dimension to that print to make it stand out. And the cool thing about that is a lot of these devices now, they're 2-in-1, so it's lamination and foiling, so it's not like you're having to buy multiple different machines to do one job. It's all built in, and it gives you multiple ways to be able to set it, set your print out from your competition. But to keep moving, another one that we want to talk about is white printing, or white ink printing, or white toner printing. And I know that's been around for quite some time, but it is a cool application to be able to print on darker material. So when I think of that, I think of marketing material. You know, everybody's at home now. They're sitting in their house. They're working from home. So they're looking at their mail a whole lot more than they're looking at, you know, their mail when they would come home from work. If it was junk, they throw it away. Well, now people are paying more attention to this, and so white ink on a mailer will grab somebody's attention more than just if you get the regular white envelope with nothing on it. So if you can think about white ink and being able to put that on a mailing and be able to make your mailing stand out from somebody else's, it would really help when you're trying to market to those people to get them to call you back or to open your piece of mail. And white ink is super simple. It's just a 5th color in a machine. So you have your CMYK, and then you have white to go with it. So it's not a process where you're having to reprint things 1 or 2 times, like with foiling, where you're having to print it and then put the foil over top of it. White ink, it's a seamless one pass through the machine. Do you have anything to expand on that, David?
Well, that's a great point, Travis. One of the things that a lot of people are not used to about white ink is, in the old days, we were only able to do it on a typical press. And now it's being done digitally, as it has for the last couple of years, but it's really come down to the real world for all commercial printers and even some in-house central reproduction departments within commercial accounts. And white ink, if you want to print on something on a black piece of paper or a dark blue piece of paper and totally change the look of the document, it really makes it a very charismatic document and really makes it pop. So when you're doing invitations or you're sending something out to a law firm, people aren't going to be seeing documents like that very often. So it really can separate you and your organization from the competition. So that's it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I think white toner, like I said, has been around for a while, but I think it's really starting to make its comeback now, and people are starting to notice it a little more. But we want to move on to spot UV printing, and spot UV printing is one of my favorites, just because it gives your picture a dimension. So if we go back to that Ferrari picture that we were talking about, and say we want to move more towards the background and not really the Ferrari. So if you print this picture and you go to put the UV and it's on the beach, you can add UV coating to the water, and then when you touch the water, it'll give it that, it feels like the water is there. Plus it gives it that shine, it makes that water stand out. Another good application for this is if you're doing like a snake or any type of a reptile and you want to feel the scales on that reptile. So when somebody gets that, something that pops into my head is the Richmond Zoo is now doing drive-through zoo experiences because people can't get in there and walk around. So when you think about that, and the Richmond Zoo is sending out flyers to be able to get these people to come in, they send out flyers with snakes or other animals on there. And when you get that, you can feel the snake on there, you can feel the scales of the snake, and that is something that really stands out, and people will remember that instead of just looking at a snake. Another good example is like mountain scenes. You can print a mountain scene, put this UV coating over top of that mountain scene, and be able to feel the mountains instead of just seeing the picture. So it does add a bit of a dimension to that print instead of just a flat piece of paper.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thanks, Travis. No, it's funny now that micro manufacturers are becoming more popular in the United States. People are designing their own pieces for different types of materials that they're producing in their in-home or small commercial shops. And somebody's making something, and I have a real nice example of a box that has strawberries covering the entire box, and you can actually feel the texture of the strawberries with that spot dimensional UV, and it adds a totally different character to the box. And there's a lot of different processes that you can use that for, but it can be done if somebody wants to order 5 boxes, 50 boxes, or 5,000 boxes. So it's really become quite easy for commercial printers to be able to offer this type of technology at a cost that was unreasonable before. So the spot UV has really become quite popular, as Travis said. It's very exciting for people to be able to touch documents that they could never feel before.
Yeah, I agree. One of the main subjects that we'd really like to get into is flatbed printing. Flatbed printing has been around for quite some time, but it's been around and it's expensive. The machine itself has been expensive, and manufacturers have taken notice to that. So they've come out with what we call hybrid machines. So it's a flatbed machine, but it's also a roll-to-roll machine. So say you don't have the volume to justify getting a full flatbed machine, but you are sending some work out, and you'd like to bring that work in-house just so you can capitalize on the profitability of that. These hybrid machines have been great. Like I said, they allow you to print on flatbed, but it has some limitations compared to a normal full flatbed, but it still allows you to get great quality on your roll-to-roll machine. So, if you're printing out a high-quality picture or poster for people, you can do that on the machines. But if somebody comes in and says, hey, we want, a yard signs, a realtor wants to come in and they have open houses, they want to print their yard signs, you can now bring that in-house at an affordable cost. These machines, the prices of them have come way down from where these full blown flatbed machines are still pretty expensive, but they have, they're made for a clientele who has the volume to justify the cost of those machines. But David, if you want to go into a little bit of what the difference is, kind of some of the positives of the full-bed flatbed machine, and then some of the positives of what or some of the setbacks of what the hybrid machine has.
Sure. Thank you. I will, Travis. So to start off with, the hybrid machine has the ability to run flat boards through it, but as Travis said, its biggest detriment is that if it can only take a certain thickness. So you can certainly do real estate signs, some different types of open houses, any type of COVID signage, things like that, and you don't have to remount the poster on top of a foam core or something like that. And so normally with roll-fed devices, you would have to take an extra 2 or 3 steps to laminate that to a piece of hard profile paper or foam core, as we say, and get it to be stiff. So the hybrid device allows you to go roll to roll if you're just needing to replace a typical wide format printer, and then it also allows you to print on foam core and some different types of substrates. When you go up to a full flatbed, you gain a lot in speed and image quality, and then a lot in the thickness of the material. Some of the units that we carry can print on material up to 4 inches thick. We have customers that are doing floor mats, cornhole boards, different types of signages. I have a architectural firm that is printing on tile, so people take their photographs back from being on vacation and they want to remember it. They can have the Fiji beach that they were just on, and they can see it every day when they go in to take a shower in the morning. The other thing that people are able to do is people are renovating older homes and buildings, and there's very thick doors. And so you have the ability of taking a large door that's 3.5 inches thick and running it through a flatbed printer and putting a beautiful image on top of that. It has really changed the landscape, and even in the typical the industry that we're in right now, the flatbed printing is going through the roof. That's what's really driving a lot of revenue now in the commercial printer market. So we're continuing to see a lot of flatbed and hybrid devices go out there. Hybrid devices are about half to 2/3 the cost of a full flatbed, and allow you to really start building your volume in your business to be able to jump into that competitive world and profitable world as well. So very interesting how flatbed has really come into its own sense.
Yeah, I would agree on that. The last topic that we want to get into, and David, this is really more geared towards you because I know you've really dove into this hard, is high-speed inkjet versus high-speed toner-based devices. So I'm gonna step back from this and let you take off with this, just because I know you've done a whole lot of research on it and are more, educated on this than I am. So I don't want to waste your time, and I'll just let you take it off with that.
Thanks, Travis. I appreciate that. Yeah, inkjet, it's funny, the last few years, most of the questions that a lot of customers have is, what's happening with inkjet? And inkjet's actually been here for quite some time. It confuses people because a lot of the inkjets that we have at home, the inexpensive printers that you get from a local office product store, are not the inkjets that we have in the commercial world. It's funny, they're actually on the opposite sides of the spectrum. So inkjet printers in an office store are very inexpensive printers to buy and very expensive to feed. So their gas mileage is extremely poor. In the commercial print world, inkjet printers are very expensive, but their gas mileage is staggeringly good. And so we're kind of a little bit at a crossroads. Inkjet will continue to grow, and at some point in our future, there most likely will be all inkjet, but we're still not there yet. Inkjet in the commercial print world has really taken over in mail houses, and now the quality of the inkjets has gotten better, where it's starting to be able to replace some commercial presses. And so the speed of those has gotten better. One of their downsides was that they didn't have the capability of handling a lot of different types of media, especially when it came to glossy media. They had trouble adhering to that, drying to that, and they've really made some headway there. They're still not at the same page as lasers. The inkjet quality is still not at the same quality as laser, but it's getting close, and it really has its market, but it's in the much higher volume area, where you're running a lot of volume that's not at the absolute peak of quality. And what's also happening in the inkjet technology world is they're starting to add finishing options, because in the commercial print world, labor is a very expensive option to all of us. And now being able to add high-end finishing to these inkjet devices, it's really made them much more useful. On the other hand, toner devices have been getting faster and faster. Their quality is getting better and better. They're able to handle, some of our printers now are able to handle up to 450 GSM, running it up to 140 images per minute. And they can duplex that. They can print on large sheets of paper. So the inkjet versus toner battle is really starting to heat up. And there are some areas where they cross over, but still, for the most part, they're running down two different roads, but they are starting to touch a little bit for certain commercial printers. It's been very exciting to be part of that world and see how it's growing, and watch how the inkjet pricing is starting to come down a little bit, but it's still probably 3 to 6 times higher than what you would be buying a typical production toner-based device. So I'm interested to see how that continues to grow. We have a few partners on both sides of that offer very strong products, and if anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to Travis or myself, and we'd be happy to come and meet with you or do a conference call or WebEx and talk to you about that. We also now have the capability of doing online demos via the web, so we can put you in front of a product without you even having to leave your living room. Just wanted to mention that. Travis?
Yeah, I think that's great. Like you mentioned, we'd be happy to do demos for you guys. Most of the stuff that we've talked about, we have here on our demo room floor. If you guys want to come in or we can bring some samples or send you some samples of what the things would, or what the material would look like of a finished product. If you want to send us some samples, we'll be happy to print those off for you as well, and have the foiling machine and things here also. But that's all we have for you guys today. We just wanted to do a brief overview of different types of embellishments. If you have questions, like David said, please feel free to reach out, and we'd love to go more in depth with you, with however you're comfortable doing that, whether it be WebEx or in person. We're happy to oblige to whatever you guys need us to do. But on that note, I think we'll hand it back off to Christian.
All right, thanks, Travis. So now we've reached the Q&A portion of our webinar, and I want to thank both Travis and David for talking about those print embellishments and those advanced options that exist for everyone. There's definitely some options that exist that I didn't even know about, so definitely thank you for that. Before we jump into the questions, I do want to plug our website, cobbtechnologies.com, and make sure to check out the Coffee with Cobb section, where we actually have some of these presentations archived for you. So you can always go back and rewatch anything that you've missed, where we discuss print management, business software, managed IT, cloud platforms, and obviously advanced printing options like print embellishments and things of that nature. So jump right in. Let's see here. The first question, we have a reoccurring visitor. Sal has a question. He is asking, we have an in-house CRD, and do you offer a job submission platform to order these embellishments? And this is, of course, after they deploy the hardware in their environment. David or Travis, did you want to attack that question?
Sure, I'll address the question. So it's kind of a twofold question. So we have platforms that can be, so to speak, a digital storefront for his. I guess he's asking, can his internal customers order something from him using a software platform?
I believe so.
Okay,
that's what it seems like.
Yeah. So they're two separate subjects. So we do offer several different software packages that we have that can be a storefront for internal and/or external customers. So that would answer that. Regarding the print embellishment, whether it's print embellishment, business cards, perfect bound books, it doesn't make a difference what the media is. The software would be able to handle that, and we could either, that customer with an in-house CRD could either do that in-house and/or still take the job, receive it, send it out to his local vendor that he feels comfortable with, and then bring it back and distribute it to the internal customer. So I hope that answers the question.
I think that was it. Yeah, that was solid. All right, let's see. Next question is, do we have any ideas on how to market these new print shop features to internal employees?
I'll take that one. I think I think a good way to answer that question would be with samples. I think if you have some you know, some marketing material that you have in house that you've been using, and you want to spruce it up a little bit, you know, we could get you with some people who are already doing this, and be able to get them to get you some samples of this for you to be able to pass out and show your marketing department, or the people within your organization that your marketing department is trying to reach out to, the different things that you're able to do, and see if that would help them when they go out to market your product, whatever, you know, whatever you're trying to sell.
All right.
I hope that answers. I hope that helps.
Yeah, it sounds good. Let's see here. We have one last question before we wrap up. They're asking, do white ink printers do other applications other than white?
I'll take that one. Yes, there's a few different types of white printers that we have available depending on what the customer is trying to accomplish. But one that is an extremely versatile product, has the ability to do envelopes, has the ability to do very thick media as well, or very long media, like if you're doing a banner page or something like that. So yes, they do have other capabilities besides that, and they also can run just full color, 4-color printing as well. So quite useful products.
All right. Let's see. And I believe that is all the questions that we have for today. So I'll go ahead and start to wrap this up. I'm going to thank everyone for joining us. Please feel free to reach us back at coffee@cobbtechnologies.com if you have any other questions that you couldn't think of while watching the demo or the webinar. And if you wanted to schedule a demo with either Travis or David, or Travis and David, just to talk about what they said before, they can do virtual demos, or you can come into the office here. We are supplying face masks for any visitors as well, so we're abiding by the recommendations. But if you wanted to see some examples, close up and personal, touch on some of those embellishments and see how the machines work,